Trading212 is one of my favorite brokers that I'm using myself with quite a bit of money invested over there, and definitely one of the easiest platforms to get started with your investing journey. So whether you're already using Trading212 or planning to start using it, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 15 tips and tricks to get the most out of the Trading212 app to maximize your money. And I'm sure some of those you may not have known before. So make sure to stay until the end. With this, let's get started. And the first one is actually the fact that Trading212 also has a web interface, because a lot of people might feel uncomfortable trading on the phone, but fear not, you can just log on trading212.com, sign in with your account. It will take a second, load it up, and boom, here you have it. Pretty much you can do most of the things that you can do on your phone. It's just obviously displayed in a different way. So if you prefer that, it might be very interesting for you. If not, I do everything on the app because the app is amazing. But I just wanted to show you because a lot of people may not have known that fact. The next tip has to do with customizing your home screen experience. So when you go over here, open the app and click home at the bottom left, then you can go over here where's the pencil icon, click that, and you can obviously customize a little bit your home screen. So you can either have, the item size full screen or compact. I like it compact to have more items over there. And then you can move around certain things. Let's say you want to have your watch list at the top. You could move that. Obviously news will always be at the top, but then the next one on the list over here could be your watch list. And then obviously from here, you can also click into the gear icon and then customize a little bit some of the options, or go into top movers, which is also interesting to see which stocks are trending a certain day and whatnot. You could also remove a certain list if you wanted to. You just click once again the gear item and click on unfollow, so that item would be removed. So yeah, little customization that you can do, but few people have been asking me about this. So that way when you open the app, it is how you want it to be. And how you go to that, basically you see the news on one side, but then from here to get to the next screen, you just swipe to the left basically, and you can see right now I have my watch list over there. Once again, if I swipe one more time, I could have my top movers, but of course you can also quickly navigate at the top here and click on whatever you want to see, most traded, what is happening, etc. So you will see that over here. The next point has to do with portfolio transfer, and that's really, really amazing. You can see if you go into your settings over here, scroll down, you will now see the options of portfolio transfers. And that is a game changer, because previously you could not really do that on Trading212, but now from 2024, they're slowly starting to roll out this feature. Some of you might have already access to it. Sadly, right now I don't have it. You can see here the rollout progress. If I click onto this over here, it will load up the page. Full expected rollout will be by 31st March 2024. Currently, less than 10% of the users already have this functionality. So you may or may not have it right now. You might see the feature over here, but soon you will be able obviously to transfer portfolios into Trading212, which is cool and is free of charge, which is nice. Obviously Trading212 wants to manage your portfolio from other brokers, but then the cool thing will be if you click over here onto outgoing, you can transfer, if you wanted to, your portfolio to another broker. And that is such a powerful tool and functionality that pretty much any good broker should have, because you never know what happens 5-10 years from now. You might want to transfer your stocks or shares to another broker, or you move countries where the app is not supported, so you want to be flexible. And the fact that they now allow that is really, really amazing. I love it. Sadly, I can't show it you right now because, as you can see, I'm not yet part of the feature. But if you want me to make a full video on this in the future, let me know down in the comments that you want to see that. I'll be sure to make a full video on how to actually transfer your shares out of Trading212. So the next point has to do with how you deposit your funds. So once again, if I go into manage funds, I click over here, and then I would go into deposit, obviously. And traditionally, what I've done in the past, I basically just sent my money, my euros, because most of my currency is in euro. It made sense to send my euros over there and then buy from there. And it is a great option, right? However, the only thing is, if you do end up buying US listed stocks, you need US dollars, right? And that way you have to convert your euros into dollars. And that's one of the very few fees that Trading212 actually charges. They make it very transparent. You can see over here, it's a 16-cent fee. If I exchange 100 euros into dollars, you can click over it into here. It's basically 0.15%. I mean, that's still an amazing exchange rate. Most brokers will charge you way more. So it's actually very good. So if you wanted to least hassle, honestly, it's a great option. Unless you have another app or bank where you get an even better deal, which I have. In my case, I use Revolut. They basically don't charge you any foreign exchange fee, especially as your investing amounts get larger. Those 0.15%, they do end up, once again, if you invest in foreign currency, there's a better way. So what I now do basically is to convert my euros into dollars in Revolut, because there, once again, I get the best exchange rate with 0 fees, and then send my dollars from Revolut without any fees straight into Trading212. And what you want to do is just click over here into your portfolio balance and then click free funds. Select the currency you want. Obviously you can choose from the 3, euro, dollar or pounds. Then click into dollars over here. And here I have all my US dollars details. They are slightly different from the euro details. So if I want to send dollars straight into Trading212, I would have to send it to those bank details from my Revolut bank. So honestly, that's probably the cheapest way if you're planning to invest a lot in different currencies than your native currency. If you mostly invest in your native currency, you don't really have to use it. But in my case, honestly, it really saved me quite a bit of money. So I think it's a nice little hack that maybe not everybody knew before. And of course, let's not forget, while my dollars are sitting here waiting to be invested, I'm getting now 5.1% interest, as you see over here, per year paid on my money, and that's paid out daily. So that's really cool. Another great tip with regards to currency is in your settings. So what you want to do is go back into your settings over here and then click on currency options. And here you can select two things. So first of all, you can select your default buying currency. And in my case, once again, I always like to buy the native currency. So if I buy, US listed stock, I want to buy it in USD. Also, I want to diversify my currency holdings. I don't want to have everything in euro because long term, I do believe that US dollar is probably the stronger currency to hold. That's why I want to invest in the asset specific currency. So previously, by default, you would have your primary currency, but I changed it to asset currency. So that way, if I buy Coca-Cola in the US, I would have to pay with US dollar. Now, of course, if I don't have any funds available, then in this case, it would resort back to buying it in the primary currency. But that's why I make sure I have US dollars in my account sitting there ready to be invested. And then also the default selling currency. So if you sell a stock or share, basically the question is, do you want to have it paid out to you in your primary currency or in the asset native currency? And once again, imagine I hold Coca-Cola listed in the US, bought with US dollars. So if I sell it, I don't want to have it back in euros, because that way, basically, Trading 212 would automatically exchange the amount on my behalf, once again, incurring a 0.15% exchange fee, which once again is not that much. It's a really good fee actually. But at the same time, I might want to hold on to my dollars and then either buy something else in dollars through Trading 212 or, withdraw these dollars. So it's up to me, but I always prefer to get the payout in the asset currency and then think what I want to do with it rather than letting Trading 212 do that on my behalf. If you've been enjoying the tips so far, why not to sign up to my weekly newsletter where I share even more tips, my weekly stock buys of the week, and many more things. So why not sign up? Use my link down in the description below. Once again, it's free. So why not join thousands of others who are part of the smart money community? Now, another point to talk about are the fees, because a lot of people have been asking me, well, Kai, if it's free of charge without commissions, how do they actually make money? And I really like, once again, the transparency of Trading 212. If you go on the website and click on the terms, you will see right away the fee section, and they really clearly outline what their fees are. So trading commission on stocks, ETFs are free of charge, which is amazing. There's no custody fee, because a lot of brokers, they charge you a custody, which is crazy. They hold your money and they charge you for it. So, they don't do that, which is really good. So one of the very few fees that they have is the currency exchange fee, which is still very low at 0.15%. So if you don't trade much, just once in a while buy something in a different currency, I think it's still a great option. Another good point are deposits and withdrawals. Once again, that is completely free of charge. Now, if you withdraw your money, that can take up to 3 days. Usually it takes me 1 or 2 days to get my money. So it's not instant. With some other brokers, it goes faster. So that's something to keep in mind. If you really need it urgently, it may not be the best way. But then again, it's free of charge, because I've seen some other brokers who charge me €7. And that's crazy, right? It's my own money. So why you charge me for that? So that's really nice to know. In terms of deposit, I always recommend make a bank transfer. Most brokers make it very convenient to pay with your credit card or Apple Pay, Google Pay, what have you. But there will be, a certain limit up to €2,000 in total. After that, there will be a 0.7% fee on that. And honestly, that's way too high. So just make a bank transfer. In most cases, that literally takes, in my case, if I send from a Revolut to my Trading 212, less than 5 minutes is there and it's ready to use. Super transparent. I love it, because some other brokers, it's very difficult to find all those fees. It's hidden away in the fine print, and Trading 212 makes it very transparent. And yeah, I really like that. The next point has to do with automated buy orders or recurring buying orders. So you don't have to think about it. You just send your money once into Trading 212 and then set it and forget it. It will buy on your behalf. So it's very simple to set up. Maybe not intuitive if you have never done it before. So under your investments over here, you click on pies. And then you want to go on create pie. So they call it a pie. So you can either follow other people's pie, which are already made already. We'll come back to this in a moment. Or you build your own custom pie. So that's what we're going to do. Go ahead, select that. And then you say add instruments on what you want to invest. So let's say most people want to have some kind of exposure to the S&P 500, which I always recommend. So let's have the VUSA, which is the S&P 500 that I buy. So you can select here from any of the ones that you want. Where it's listed, obviously depends on the currency. In the UK, it's usually dollars or pounds. Then you could have some, in Italy, that's going to be the one in euro dominated. So, check around what fits for you, but just let's go ahead and select the first one over here. I want to click add to pie. So that's now in my pie. I'm going to go over here and then I can either add more to it or I'll leave it at that. For the sake of this example, let's add another one. Let's say I want to also specifically invest into Apple. So let's add Apple to the equation over here, add plus, go ahead back to the pie, and then I can select basically how much of the percentage I want to invest into what. So let's say every month I want to invest 80% into my Vanguard, and that leaves the rest 20% upper into Apple. So basically of all the money that I allocate towards it, I will have 80% in Vanguard, my S&P 500, and 20% into Apple. And from here, I could go ahead and click on next, and then you can choose what you want to do, auto invest or manually. Obviously the whole point is to have it on auto invest. So let's leave it on auto invest, and that will automate the whole process for you. Then you select on how many years. Don't worry, you can always cancel it anytime. There's no commitment. So even if you select, I don't know, 20 years, it's just to give an indication of what the potential projection would be, even though sometimes I find it a little bit misleading because, past results are not a guarantee for future results. Let's say I want to do it for 1 year. I want to do it monthly. So the question is, you want to do it monthly, every week, weekly. In my case, I want to do it weekly. And let's say middle of the week is usually a good time. So let's have it every Wednesday. It will buy the shares for me. So let's say you want to do 50 euros, right? Every week. So let's leave initial deposit at 50 euros. Click next, give it a name. Let's give it a name, Kai's Tasty Money Pie. You can change the logo over here if you wanted to, but then let's go ahead on next. And we're ready to go. 50 euros will be invested every Wednesday, every week for 1 year. And yeah, if you're happy with this, you click confirm, and then basically it will automate your investments for you. Just make sure you have enough money sitting on your Trading 212 account, which makes sense because while it's sitting there waiting to be invested, you get some nice interest paid to you every single day. So that's cool. And yeah, basically it really makes sense if you wanted to put your investment onto autopilot. But I like to do it manually, so in my case it's not applicable. But for most people, I really recommend doing this. Only select the S&P 500 and you're really way ahead of many other people who don't invest. Another point has to do with community pie. So we talked about creating your own pie, but I can also go into the community over social over here. And then obviously you have the feed, communities, but then you see also the pies. Now, I don't really like to follow other people's pies because yeah, I like to do my own research. And if you don't want to do your own research, invest into the S&P 500 because most of the pies in the long term, I doubt that they actually outperform the S&P 500. But still, I think it's a nice way to kind of scroll through and get some kind of ideas, right? Because a lot of them have different themes. You can see defense pie. So if I click into this, I'll see all the defense stocks, long-term capital growth, AI bubble, and robotics. So if I click into here, I can basically see all the stocks that are part of it, the slices they call it. And you see here all these stocks that are related to AI or robotics in this case. Here's another pie. It's high paying dividend portfolio. Click into this and you see all the slices or stocks in this case that have a high dividend component to it. Really interesting. May have never heard about them. I don't know if I would invest in them, but it kind of gives you food for thought to maybe find new stocks to potentially invest in. There's also one pie called the monthly dividend pie. If you click on this over here, basically, if you invest into this pie, you will be paid a monthly dividend from all those various companies. Now myself, I own Realty Income and Agree Realty, and the others I don't own, but if I wanted to, I could buy them either individually or through the pie. So why not have a look around, get some inspiration with some different shares you may not have thought of before. Another important point is about the fund protection, because some people have been asking me, okay, my funds are protected up to 20,000 euros, but what if I have more and the company goes bust? What happens to all my shares? So I think they make it also very clear once again, fund and asset protections, as they mentioned over here. Basically, Trading 212 pools client assets together and hold them in segregated accounts with a custodian completely separate from Trading 212's own assets. This helps to ensure that our clients' assets are protected, that they can be easily identified and distinguished from our own. They are actually working with Interactive Brokers, one of the largest brokers in the world, and also my broker of choice, where I have my biggest part of my portfolio with them, to help safeguard your assets. So obviously they go into greater detail over here and explain how it all works. If you click into this over here, they also further describe all the details about the relationship with Interactive Brokers and who has the ownership of the shares and so forth. And obviously they talk about the protection limit of up to 20,000 euros. So basically that protection limit pertains to your cash holdings sitting in your accounts, your stocks and shares and ETFs and a segregated account. So even if Trading 212 was to go under, those shares would just basically be absorbed by somebody else as they're held by another entity, in this case with Interactive Brokers. If Trading 212 was to be liquidated, they can't actually use your shares to sell them on your behalf and use them to pay for their liabilities. So in that way, actually, you're pretty safe. I mean, that's the beauty of holding shares. It's different if you have your money sitting on a crypto exchange. If the exchange goes under, basically, they could liquidate your holdings on your behalf and pay for any debts they have. In this case, they can't actually do that with your shares. They would legally be separate and then transferred to another broker. So in that way, you can really sleep peacefully at night. I still always recommend to have different brokers, as I do myself, because even if they go under and it's shared, and it's safe and you transfer it to somebody else, this process, from what I heard from some people in the past, can take up to months, right? So yes, while it's safe, it still might take a long time to recover and get back to it. So in the meantime, you have another broker that you can work with and to continue to invest. That's why when you'll see down in my description below, I have a number of brokers that I use myself and invest in, and I always recommend to others to diversify and have different brokers, even though I really love trading 212, obviously. Another tip I want to give you, that's a more general investing advice, I would say, is not to fall for all those trending and hot stocks. If we go back into our home screen, you see obviously here top movers, top winners, and people look at it and see those percentages. I mean, most of those companies I never heard of, but of course, when I see it here, 41% gain in a day, I mean, wow, sounds great, right? So a lot of people might say, why not invest into this? Seems really tempting. Let's buy some shares, you know? But then when you actually look at it over a 1 year performance, I mean, it's really been beaten down. And honestly, that's not the stock I would invest in. Most people don't know what they're even all about. As you can see, they're generating huge losses. So why would I possibly invest in it? That's like throwing your money into some crazy meme coins and hoping it will go up. So I really don't think that's a good strategy. Same with top movers. Again, similar story over here. So don't fall for the FOMO. Understand what you're investing in, do your own research, and then make smart money decisions. Become long-term investors, not somebody trying to time the market and chase the latest hype stocks, because honestly, long-term, you're probably going to be losing money. And that brings me to my next point, which is similar. If you click into settings over here, top left, you have obviously your Trading 212 Invest account, but then you see also there's the Trading 212 CFD trading account. So if I click onto this over here, you can basically have leverage trading where you have some money, let's say use 1,000 euros from yourself, but then you can use leverage, in which case Trading 212 can give you a 3x leverage, meaning they can give you 3,000 from their side, which is great, right? If you make money, you can have 3x higher gains. If you make 10%, you could have 3x that return. But on the other hand, if the stock moves against you, you can also lose 3x and you might be liquidated, in which case they will sell all the shares on behalf and close your account, and basically you will lose a lot of money. You can trade futures, options, and honestly, most people, once again, are losing money doing this. And I'm not an expert in it. I did play around with it a little bit, but that's not something that works with my investment style. And for most people out there, I really recommend against using that. If you really wanted to study it, try it, practice with virtual money. That's probably a better way if you just want to play around a little bit with it. But for most people, I really advise just stick with investing and invest for the long term to grow your wealth in the long term rather than be a full-time trader, which again, some people make money, but a majority of people actually end up underperforming the market. Another cool feature has to do with lending shares. If you go back into settings over here, you find the option earn interest on shares. So click on that and you see actually I'm getting 0% because I don't have any shares that are relevant for people to be borrowed. So only specific shares have a high interest of being borrowed. That way you can make money if you lend them. So if you go over here, I have no payments, but you can see here, for example, most borrowed. And most of those companies, obviously, there's a reason why they're being borrowed. Now, Nvidia obviously is a very hot share right now, but NIO, for example, very interestingly, you can get some nice interest paid to you if you have those shares because people borrow them from you. But what's the reason behind it? Basically, if you look up NIO, they've been really struggling on very much on a downward trend over here. And yeah, guess what? A lot of people are actually short selling NIO now, betting on the stock price going down further. So that way they need to borrow the shares in order to make money if the share price goes down. So actually, if you hold NIO shares and borrow them, yes, you make a bit of money, but actually long term, you might be losing out more because people bet against you, the share price drops, and then in the end, your shares are worth less. So I'm not a big fan of that. I don't really own any of the shares that are being paid for lending, and that's why I don't get any payments, but I'm really happy not getting that money. I rather get money on my cash, plus in the form of dividends, but share lending is not something I would be doing because I don't really want to be holding any of these shares. They're way too risky for me. Another great tip is to link up your Trading 212 account with Getquin. You can see over here, Getquin is my portfolio and net worth tracker of choice. And why, you may ask yourself, you can track everything on Trading 212. That's absolutely correct. But as I said, I like to diversify my brokers and have different ones. Plus, of course, also have my cryptocurrency. So here I can link up all my various portfolios and accounts that I have. You can see I have my Trading 212 over here, my Nexo crypto exchange, my various wallets, my interactive brokers, and have it all in one aggregated view. So that way, even if I'm on the go, I can see all my various positions over here. I can see my dividends. If I click into this over here, I have all my total dividends, not just from Trading 212, because there my portfolio is not that big, but also from interactive brokers, from Trade Republic, all of them coming into here. And I can see whenever I get notifications for any upcoming dividend payments. So it's really, really nice. And I love that. And it's actually super simple to do. All you want to do, is scroll to right over here, click on add portfolio. It will pull up all the various brokers that they're working with. Most of the big ones are out there. You can see right away Trading 212. Click on this over here and then it shows you can either have automatic connection or manual import. So if you don't feel comfortable with automatic synchronization, which really brings a lot of benefits because every time you buy something on Trading 212, it is automatically synced with your Getquin app. But if you like to do it manually, you can also do that. In my case, you have it automatically. You can see obviously it's encrypted, read only, and on EU server. So I feel really comfortable with it. It's read only. We have a two-factor authentication with Trading 212, so they really can't do anything without my permission. And yeah, honestly, it works really seamlessly. And that way I have all my various portfolios in one snapshot, and it makes things so much easier to stay on top of all my finances. And if you want to check out Getquin for yourself, use my link down in the description below. And if you sign up with it, you can also follow me there and see all my various holdings and portfolio that I currently have. Another tip has to do with notifications. So what you want to do is go into settings over here and click on notifications. And in the beginning, I was a little bit annoyed with all the notifications that I was getting from Trading 212 about latest news and price changes. And it was just too overwhelming. I don't like to have too many notifications, only things that really matter to me. So really take a moment to go through here and see what is relevant for you. Account activity. Of course, I want to see everything that's going on. If there's money coming in, money going out, if I make any stock buys, I want to have those things coming to me right away. But for example, news, you can click into news over here and then select how you want to have it delivered. Only in the app or push. Push basically means if your phone is closed and you will see it on your home screen, but I don't want to have that, right? I only want to see it if I open the app and maybe notified about certain news. Do you want to have email? No, because I already have way too many emails coming in. So yeah, just really go through, see what is interesting for you. Corporate events, in my case, I want to have push because if there's some big corporate event happening, such as dividend payments, stock splits, or spin-offs, of course, I want to be informed right away about this. So for me, that's really important. Product announcements, once again, you may or may not be interested in that. The social component for me is not really relevant because I'm not really using the community feature much. But if you are, then obviously you might want to enable that. And here we are already on the last and final, the 15th tip that I want to share with you. That might be obvious, but still some people may not have known about this before. So for example, if I go into any of the stocks that are trade, Morgan Stanley, for example, sometimes I want to buy a share, but then I can't do that. And then I wonder, when the stock markets are opening, because for example, in the US where I'm not based, I'm either based in Europe or in Dubai. And I don't know the hours, what time it is over there. I travel to different time zones. Sometimes they have special holidays and it's really hard to know when the markets are open. It's not like crypto when the markets are always open. So it's very easy. All you have to do is click onto market open and sign over here. And then you will see how long the stock markets are open. I can see right away the New York Stock Exchange, closes in 5 hours and 6 minutes. So in this time, I can still do my trades. I can see basically the whole week are trading days. And sometimes if there's a special holiday, it will also be shown over here. So it's very simple and easy way to know if the stock markets are still open. For example, if I go into one of the European stocks, Mercedes-Benz, for example, and click into that, it shows it will close already in 1.5 hours. Obviously, they are in different time zones. So it's very easy to stay on top of what is happening. And then if I go out of it, once again, in all your investments, you will see the green dot over here. That means the stock market is open. And sometimes, obviously now it's the time when all my stock markets are open, but let's say sometimes in the evening, if the US is still open, it will be green, but then my European stocks will have a gray dot next to it, indicating that the market is closed. So it's really nice to know if the markets are open or not, if you can trade it, because you only want to be trading when the markets are open. They do have the functionality of trading after hours and before hours, but usually that's not the smartest way. You won't really get the best price. So I always recommend only to trade when the stock markets are actually operating. And there you have it, 15 tips and tricks for getting the most out of Trading 212. And if you haven't signed up to it yet, then use my link down in the description below and you'll be getting a free share valued up to 100 euros. So really nothing to lose there. As you can see, it's an amazing stockbroker. They operate in many, many countries around the world. Check it out. I can really recommend it. Next up, check out this video over here. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.